Hey girls, Juan Jose here, your certified fitness trainer and fitness nutrition specialist. Right now, I'm going to take you through Twin City Adventure Boot Camp's nutrition seminar. So, what's the answer? How do we lose weight, get lean, and live healthy? It really is simple, and it comes down to three things. We need to eat right, get exercise, and get some sleep, which is recovery. So, does everyone know how to do that? I thought so. So can we stop and go back to stuffing our faces now? No, but seriously, we must understand that living healthy is a daily choice. It's a lifestyle. It becomes part of our everyday rituals and routines, and it's part of who we are. Stop and ask yourself this question. What's your greatest nutritional challenge? Think about that while we're going through this seminar. The fundamentals of nutrition. What's a calorie? A calorie is a unit of energy. In everyday language, calories refer to energy consumption through eating, drinking, and energy usage through physical activity. For example, an apple may have about 80 calories, while a 1 mile walk may use up to 100 calories. So here's why we need them. The human body needs calories, which is energy, to survive. Without energies, our cells would die, our hearts and lungs would stop, and we would perish. We acquire this energy from food and drink. The number of calories foods contain tells us how much potential energy they possess. For instance, 1 gram of carbohydrates contains 4 calories, 1 gram of protein contains 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat contains 9 calories. But is a calorie just a calorie? I often hear some people tell others that a calorie is a calorie regardless of where it comes from. They go on to say that if you stay within your caloric needs, you won't gain weight or will lose weight with exercise. So is a calorie just a calorie? Does its origin and constituents matter? Let's take a look. Personally, I feel there's a lot of confusion around this topic because those who really understand nutrition know that it plays a major role in the results we get and how our bodies look. I strongly disagree that a calorie is a calorie, and I prepared an example to let you decide for yourself. So, as you can see, this is baby spinach versus a Reese's dessert bar. This is all based on 180 calorie serving. Baby spinach is on your left, and the Reese's dessert bar is on your right. So it's also keep in mind that the original serving size of the baby spinach is 2 3/4 cups, which is equal to 20 calories, which also equates to 24 3/4 cups of spinach to one serving of the Reese's dessert bar. Now I'm sure that before you saw this table of information, you could have easily told me that a Reese's dessert bar isn't a healthy food choice, but where does that leave the person that argues a calorie is a calorie? The difference is that the spinach is going to provide the body with better nutrition as well as volume than the dessert bar. It comes down to the scientific study of the interaction of nutrition and our genes. This is right along the lines of how what we eat can determine gene expression in our bodies. This is becoming a major topic in health and fitness research. So when you eat certain nutrients, they impact on the expression of the proteins on the outer layers of our cells, which then determine what action will follow within that cell, what kind of metabolites it produces, what the cell becomes, etc. This is dependent upon the levels of nutrients that are consumed by the body that will then determine how large of an expression occurs within and from those cells. With that said, please explain to me how the constituents and value of what you eat doesn't determine the way your body looks. The fact is that if one wants to become healthier, feel stronger, and look better, then concerning oneself with what you eat is a must. Please don't believe the myths. Stop thinking it's about the number of calories that you eat and understand that it's more so about the quality of food you put into your body. What are macronutrients? As you can see, there are 3 macronutrients: carbohydrates, or carbs, as you often hear them called, or carbs, depending on where you're from, proteins, and fats. What do they do? First, we're going to talk about carbs. And what do they do? They influence our body's energy levels, our ability to work, our recovery from exercise, progression of chronic diseases, overall body composition, and much more. Where are they found in our diet? Carbs are sugars, starches, and fibers. So the good carbs are broken down and absorbed slowly by the body. Some examples are whole grain pasta, whole oats, brown rice. Other examples are fruits like strawberry, banana, pineapples, or vegetables like carrots, broccoli, and spinach, or legumes like black beans, lentils, or nuts. These foods are rich in fiber, vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients that are beneficial to your health. Also, because they cause a slower change in blood sugar levels. The bad carbs. Dun dun dun. Also called refined carbs. These carbs are put through a refining process where they're stripped of most, if not all, vitamins, fiber, and certain minerals. Some examples, as you can see, are chips, pastries, sodas, cookies, bagels, cake, pancakes, and juices. Diets rich in processed foods can cause a rapid rise in blood glucose levels, thereby increasing the risk for diabetes and heart disease. By contrast, foods that cause low and stable blood sugar levels help you improve weight loss, control of cardiovascular diseases, as well as other forms of diabetes. Proteins. What do? Protein is an important component of every cell in your body. Your hair and nails are mostly made of protein. Your body uses protein to build and repair tissues. You also use protein to make enzymes, hormones, and other body chemicals. Protein is an important building block of bones, muscle, cartilage, skin, and blood. Where are they found? A good protein, which is a complete protein, can be found in meats, fish, poultry, cheese, eggs, yogurt, and milk. Now, bad protein, which are also called incomplete proteins, can be found in most grains, nuts, beans, seeds, peas, and corn. By combining foods from two or more incomplete proteins, a complete protein can be created. Some examples include grains with legumes, nuts with legumes, grains with dairy, dairy with seeds, legumes with seeds. A staple meal of grains and legumes would be lentils and rice with yellow peppers. A staple meal of nuts with legumes would be a black bean and peanut salad. A staple meal of grains with dairy would be white cheddar and whole wheat pasta. A staple meal of dairy with seeds would be yogurt mixed with sesame and flax seeds. A sample meal with legumes and seeds would be spinach salad with sesame seed and almond salad dressing. Fats. What do? Fats are an important micronutrient. In fact, it yields the highest amount of energy of 9 calories. Essential fatty acids are specific fats that are critical to the proper function of your body. Your body isn't able to produce these fatty acids on its own. So it's necessary that you eat a diet rich in these crucial building blocks to maintain a healthy body and brain. The two main essential fatty acids that need to be included in your diet are omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids. Where are they found? Good fats like omega-3s or omega-6 sources include meats, nuts, soybeans, walnut oil, canola oil, flaxseed oil, and cold water fatty fish such as salmon, herring, cod, flounder, tuna, bluefish, and shrimp. Benefits of good fat include lower cholesterol, protects your arteries, reduce the risk of cardiovascular diseases, and they are also anti-inflammatories. The omega-6 fatty acids are well accounted for in the typical American diet and should not be a concern. Research has shown that Americans' poor diet result in an improper omega-6 omega-3 ratio of 16:1, while experts recommend anywhere from 1:1 to 4:1. Bad fats. These are saturated fats and trans fats. Where are they found? Some red meat, butter, cheese, ice cream, and processed food made with trans fat from partially hydrogenated oil. Eating lots of fats or having a high imbalance of fats can lead to increased cholesterol levels and also are correlated to cardiovascular diseases, Alzheimer's diseases, breast cancer, kidney disease, prostate cancer, and multiple sclerosis. Choose foods with healthy fats, limit foods high in saturated fats, and avoid foods with trans fat. The lowdown on low fat. Low fat, reduced fat, or fat-free processed foods are not necessarily healthy. One problem with a generic lower fat diet is that it prompts most people to stop eating fats that are good for the heart along with those that are bad for it. And low-fat diets are often higher in refined carbohydrates and starches from foods like white rice, white bread, potatoes, and sugary drinks. When food manufacturers take out fat, they often replace it with carbohydrates from sugar, refined grains, or starch, also known as fast carbs. The reason why is because our bodies often digest these refined carbohydrates and starches very quickly, causing blood sugar and insulin levels to spike and then dip, which in turn leads to hunger, overeating, and weight gain. Over time, eating lots of fast carbs can raise the risk of heart disease and diabetes as much as or more than eating too much saturated fat. So when you cut back on foods like red meat and butter, replace them with fish, beans, nuts, and healthy oils, not with refined carbohydrates. What are micronutrients? Commonly referred to as vitamins and minerals, they're different than macronutrients because they're necessary only in very tiny amounts. So what do? Nevertheless, micronutrients are essential for the healthy functioning of all your body systems, from bone growth to brain function. Where are they found? Common sources of vitamins include vitamin A, C, D, E, and K, and B complex vitamins. Some common sources of minerals include fluoride, sodium, iodine, copper, potassium, and calcium. Vitamins and minerals are abundant in brightly colored fruits and vegetables such as spinach, broccoli, red bell peppers, eggplant, eggs, milk, chicken, and fish. And they're also found in sunlight. Deficiencies of minerals and vitamins can lead to fatigue, illness, and disease. Remember this: a balanced daily diet generally provides the essential nutrients your body needs to stay healthy. Fiber. And what is it? Fiber is the element in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains that our bodies do not digest or absorb. Why do we need it? Fiber is mostly left intact. This is a good thing because it creates bulk, which aids in moving stool and harmful waste through the digestive tract. Without enough fiber in your diet, you'll have irregularity, constipation, and sluggishness. Insufficient fiber can also lead to your risk of colon cancer, as well as other serious health issues. So there are two kinds of fiber: soluble fiber, which dissolves with water and creates a gel-like substance that helps to lower blood cholesterol and glucose levels, and insoluble fiber. This type of fiber absorbs water, which adds bulk to your digestive tract and helps to move things through quickly. So where is it found? Some sources of soluble fiber include oats, oat bran, peas, rice bran, legumes, beans, apples, and citrus fruits. Here are some sources of insoluble fiber: whole wheat flour, wheat bran, rye, cabbage, carrots, Brussels sprouts, and nuts. Whole foods. These are foods that are as close to the natural form as possible. Eating whole foods has many benefits, such as they're rich in phytochemicals, which are powerful nutrients found in plant foods. Compared with processed foods, whole foods contain more vitamins and minerals. They also have more fiber and beneficial fats. The combinations of nutrients in whole plant foods act synergistically to protect us from disease. So this could mean eating whole grains instead of refined grains whenever possible, fruits, vegetables, and beans instead of supplements to provide the fiber and vitamins they contain, a skinless chicken breast cooked with healthy ingredients instead of chicken nuggets processed with added fats, flavorings, and preservatives, a baked potato with chopped green onions and light sour cream instead of a bag of sour cream and onion potato chips, fresh berries with breakfast instead of a raspberry toaster's pastry or breakfast bar, a blueberry smoothie made with blueberries, yogurt, and frozen banana instead of a blue-colored slushy or icy of some sort. So, what are some side effects of eating too many processed foods? Processed foods are highly addictive. Your body processes whole foods much differently than it does refined, processed, and heavily modified junk foods. Processed foods tend to overstimulate the production of dopamine, also known as the pleasure neurotransmitter, which makes you crave them constantly. Your body ends up not being able to resist the temptation to continue eating junk food in excess, which can lead to obesity and other health problems. Processed foods often contain phosphates that destroy your organs and bones. Many processed foods contain phosphate additives that augment taste, texture, and shelf life. But these additives are known to cause health problems like rapid aging, kidney deterioration, and weak bones, according to the Rodale Institute, which makes foods that contain them far less attractive to those in the know. Processed foods ruin digestion. Because processed foods have been stripped of their natural fibers, enzymes, vitamins, and other nutrients, processed foods tend to wreak havoc on the digestive tract. Chronic consumption of such foods can throw your internal ecosystem off balance, harming beneficial bacteria and exposing your system to infection. So you can basically think of those gummy bears and that piece of cake as literal poison for your system, which may help deter you from eating them. Water. In a healthy person, water contributes 50 to 60% of your body's weight and comprises over 75% of your muscles. Your brain is 70% water, and your lungs are nearly 90% water. Each day, your body must replace 2.4 liters, or about 2.5 quarts of water, through ingestive liquids and foods. One of the most important elements in your diet, and often referred to as the ultimate weight loss weapon, is water. You may be able to go months and sometimes even years with a deficiency in almost any other nutrient, but you can only survive a few days without water. So why do we need it? Water cushions and lubricates our joints, nourishes and protects our brain, spinal cord, and other tissues. It also keeps the body's temperature normal and helps remove waste through perspiration, bowel movements, and urination. What happens when we don't drink enough water? Water is more important for your body's survival than food. You can live without water for about 1 week, but you can survive without food for more than 1 month. Lack of water or dehydration reduces the amount of blood in your body, forcing your heart to pump harder in order to deliver oxygen-bearing cells to your muscles. In the early stages of dehydration, you can become dizzy, irritable, and experience headaches. As dehydration progresses, you become clumsy, exhausted, and your eyesight could even fade. In the last stages of dehydration, you may feel nauseous and begin vomiting. Without water, you could enter a coma and die. What about too much water? When you drink too much water, you can develop a condition known as hyponatremia, in which the excess water floods your body's cells, causing them to swell up. Your swollen brain cells then cause a wide range of symptoms, including a bad headache, nausea, cramps, mental confusion, convulsions, fatigue, coma, and death. Hyponatremia has killed runners during marathons. So how much water do we really need? According to most literature, a safe recommendation for water intake is 12 cups. Be mindful that we also get water from food. That's why generally you hear the recommendation of 8 cups, because a healthy diet has some foods that contain water, like fruits and vegetables. So this right here is Twin City Adventure Bootcamp's new food pyramid. And the first part to it is meal timing. I feel that the traditional food pyramid is obviously failing miserably because, let's face it, if it truly was effective, 60% of the population in the US wouldn't be overweight and suffering from conditions caused from being obese. Most of you know I was once very overweight, but through years and years of research and personal diet experiments, this is how I eat, and it's worked out very well for me as well as many of my clients. Using these methods I'm going to share with you will not only give you optimal health, but will also keep your body in a fat-burning environment around the clock. So as you can see here, my food pyramid is upside down in contrast to the traditional pyramid. So the first part of my pyramid we're going to talk about is mealtime. But the most important one is going to be the last part at the bottom, because if you don't follow that part, the entire pyramid will collapse. So stay tuned. So there's a lot of myths and stigma around meal timing, with the most recent being that we have to feed our bodies every 2.5 to 3 hours, because we have to treat our body like it's some sort of old-fashioned wood stove. So basically, if we don't add a piece of wood, which is food, to the fire, our metabolism, every 2.5 to 3 hours, to avoid the fire from going out, or basically our metabolism slowing down. So contrary to what some believe, is that there has been multiple studies and a lot of research that proves that your metabolic rate won't slow down for up to 36 hours of fasting, which is not eating. I'd never recommend anybody to do that, because your body will go into a catabolic state, which means your body is breaking down precious muscle tissue for fuel. But it does prove the fact that you don't need to eat every 2.5 to 3 hours to keep your body's engines revving. Something else to also consider when eating that often is the insulin hormone. Every time you eat a balanced meal, your insulin levels are elevated for about 3.5 to 4 hours through a series of chemical reactions in your body. In the presence of high insulin levels, we might have a lot of energy and be able to build muscle, but what also happens is that we take our body out of a fat burning environment. The reason why is because it's impossible to burn body fat as fuel when insulin levels are high. With that said, if we're feeding our bodies every 2.5 to 3 hours, and it takes about 3.5 hours before insulin begins to stabilize to normal levels, we're literally living all day at elevated insulin levels and forcing our bodies into a fat storing state. So, what's the solution? The solution is to feed our bodies every 3.5 to 4 hours instead to allow insulin levels to stabilize in between meals. Now, throughout your day, you're maintaining stable insulin levels, thus permitting you to stay in a metabolic state where your body can consistently access and use fat, which is stored energy, as fuel. To top it off, you're still eating frequently enough to maintain a steady stream of amino acids to the muscle tissue so that you stay in an anabolic environment and avoid using muscle tissue as fuel. Let's also think about how this will affect people's lives that swear by this burdensome chore of constantly eating all day. I was one of them. When I changed my eating habits, it didn't affect my results at all. In fact, I got better results. Additionally, I no longer had to deal with the nagging voice in my head telling me to eat over and over and over again. Let's just look at our lives these days. Who really has the time to eat 6 to 7 times a day? All that preparation and packing of food? Come on. Eating every 3.5 to 4 hours helped me get more work done and even have more time for things I enjoy, like my family. All my other clients and members who use this method also reported feeling more satisfied after sitting down to a meal. The second part of our pyramid is combinations. So in the last section, I broke a lot of myths and uncovered the facts behind why you don't have to eat 5, 6, or even 7 small meals a day. I also educated you with the facts about how to keep your body in a fat burning state around the clock. Not only that, I also showed you how to eat larger portions to avoid feeling overwhelmed with the burden of eating throughout the day, as well as leaving you more satisfied after your meals. Now here, I'm going to teach you about combinations. There are 2 key things you need to know. The first one is to understand the one food that you should never eat by itself if your goal is fat loss. And the next is the one macronutrient or food that you should consume in every single meal of the day if you want to keep your body in a fat burning state. And if you apply these 2 key components to the way you eat, you'll promote a muscle building and fat burning environment within your body 24/7. So the one food that you should never eat by itself is carbohydrates. Carbs are necessary because they fuel our brains and bodies and they keep our metabolism burning high. They also promote an anabolic state and also reset fat burning hormones that become suppressed when we deplete or lower our carb intake. Carbs are key for maximum energy, speed, stamina, concentration, recovery, and better fluid balance. They are vital for athletes and active individuals because they're the primary fuel for your body. However, when you eat a carb by itself, you immediately take your body out of that fat burning environment because carbs alone raise insulin levels higher than any other foods. And like we discussed before, in the presence of elevated insulin, it's impossible for our bodies to use fat as fuel and put your body into a fat storing state. A perfect example is this. So many people snack on fruit by itself thinking that it's a healthy choice as opposed to a candy bar, which it is. But if your goal is fat loss, snacking on a piece of fruit by itself can be a big mistake. Fruit contains the type of sugar called fructose, which is also found in over-the-counter table sugar. It's known that table sugar leads to disease and obesity. With that said, every time you eat a clean carb, you want to combine it with the one macronutrient that should be consumed in every single meal: protein. You must consume protein in every single meal of the day for the following reasons. Protein has a higher thermic effect, which means it creates more heat in the body. This causes you to burn more calories because your body uses more energy to digest the protein than it does to digest carbs or fats. Protein also provides a steady stream of amino acids to the muscle tissue, preventing your body from going into a catabolic state. When that happens, your body is using muscle as its primary fuel source. Consuming protein promotes an anabolic environment, causing the body to burn fat and keep your metabolic rate elevated. So, the last and most important part to our pyramid is portion control. These simple steps can be used to eliminate weighing food and counting grams of calories altogether. So, let's go back to the three basic macronutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. And please be mindful of how I told you to treat every one of these macronutrients in the last two parts. And this last part of the pyramid will keep you from sabotaging everything with easy portion control. Remember that your hand is proportioned to your body size and body type. Don't concern yourself with being overweight or a beginner or what your gender, condition, or age is. This method applies to you. These are also the same methods I use with all of my local and online clients. So, proteins like meat, fish, eggs, dairy, or beans for women. When you consume a protein, you want to make sure it's about the size of the palm of your hand. For veggies like broccoli, spinach, salad, or carrots, these would be the size of your fist. Now, other carbs like grains, starches, or fruits will be the size of one cupped hand. Fats like oils, butters, nut butters, or nuts and seeds, for women, I recommend one thumb-sized portion of fats. So, a quick side note is that this style of eating is perfectly safe for you to use for your kids as well. For those of you that have boys and men in your family, their portions will be as follows. Protein would be 2 palm-sized portions. Other carbs like grains, starches, or fruits would be 2 cupped hand-sized portions. And fats will be the size of 2 thumbs. This is a quick FYI. Fats yield 9 calories per gram. So that's actually more than twice as much as protein and carbs, which both only yield 4 calories per gram. With that said, we must monitor our fat intake a little more closely. There are a couple fats that people consume that are very counterproductive to fat loss success. So again, when you do eat your friendly fats, you want to use the portion size of the end of your thumb, which equates to about the serving size of a tablespoon. And think about it. In just 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, you're eating anywhere from 16 to 18 grams of fat and about 200 calories. Another quick FYI is don't be misled. Although nuts and nut butters contain protein, the body does not treat them as a protein because they are incomplete protein. The body won't absorb it as a protein unless it's combined with another animal protein to complete the amino acid spectrum. They don't have all the necessary amino acids in them to be considered and treated as a protein by the body. Applying these simple methods will keep your body out of a caloric surplus and in a fat-burning and muscle-building environment from sun up to sundown. Exercise. The truth is that low-intensity exercise, moderate exercise, and high-intensity exercise all play an important role in a well-designed exercise program that promotes fat loss. What matters is how you combine all three to create an effective program. So, what is low intensity exercise? Some of your daily activity could be categorized as low intensity exercise. If you take the dog for a walk, go bike riding with the kids, or stroll to the grocery store to pick up some dinner, that could be considered a low intensity exercise. Some benefits of low intensity exercise are benefits of low intensity exercise. The value of this kind of low key activity is that you can do a lot of it. Low intensity workouts improve range of motion in your joints, lower your stress levels, increase your total daily calorie expenditure, and provide recovery from harder workouts. Now, what is moderate intensity exercise? When you're participating in moderate intensity exercise, you should feel like you're working, but not working so hard that you need to quit in the next few minutes. You're breathing deeply, but not gasping for air. Benefits of moderate intensity exercise: it allows you to maintain your calorie burning session for a longer period of time. Moderate exercise improves cardiorespiratory endurance, reduces stress, improves heart health, and boosts your metabolism. So, what is high intensity exercise? When you're participating in high intensity exercise, you're breathing very deeply and on the verge of gasping for breath. You don't feel that you can maintain the activity for more than a few minutes. Some benefits of high intensity exercise: if you're exercising to burn fat and lose weight, high intensity workouts will do the trick. Experts have found that people who participate in high intensity interval workouts are more successful at losing weight and burning fat. High intensity exercise is also the most efficient. An intense workout will burn mega calories in a very short period of time. Sleep. Sleep is not merely a time out from our busy routine. It is essential for good health, mental and emotional function, and safety. There are many things that seem more interesting or important than getting a few more hours of sleep. But just as exercise and nutrition are essential for optimal health and happiness, so is sleep. The quality of your sleep directly affects the quality of your waking life, including your mental sharpness, productivity, emotional balance, creativity, physical vitality, and even your weight. No other activity delivers so many benefits with so little effort. So why do we need it? Scientists at Duke University in Durham, North Carolina, discovered that women need more sleep than men. Women suffer more than men both mentally and physically if they're forced to skimp out on their sleep, as well as at a higher risk for heart disease, depression, and psychological problems. Sleep deprived women have extra clotting factors in their blood, which can lead to a stroke. They also have higher inflammation markers, which can indicate developing health problems. One of Britain's leading authorities on sleep found that women actually need 20 more minutes of shut eye. This is because of the female multitasking brain. Women tend to multitask. They do lots of things at once and are flexible, and so they use more of their actual brain than men do. Because of that, their sleep need is greater. One of the major functions of sleep is to allow the brain to recover and repair itself. During deep sleep, the cortex, the part of the brain responsible for thought, memory, language, and so on, disengages from the senses and goes into recovery mode. The more of your brain you use during the day, the more of it that needs to recover, and consequently, the more sleep you need. Lack of sleep, and what can it cause? Fatigue, lethargy, a lack of motivation, moodiness and irritability, reduced creativity and problem solving skills, inability to cope with stress, reduced immunity, frequent colds and infections, concentration and memory problems, weight gain, impaired motor skills, and increased risk of accidents, difficulty making decisions, increased risk of diabetes, heart disease, and other health problems. How sleep deprivation can add to your waistline. Have you ever noticed how when you're short on sleep, you crave sugary foods that can give you a quick energy boost? There's a good reason for that. Sleep deprivation has a direct link to overeating and weight gain. There are two hormones in the body that regulate normal feelings of hunger and fullness. Ghrelin stimulates appetite, while leptin sends signals to the brain when you're full. However, when you don't get the sleep you need, your ghrelin levels go up, stimulating your appetite so you want more food than normal, and your leptin levels go down, meaning you don't feel satisfied and want to keep eating. So, the more sleep you lose, the more food your body will crave. How to read nutrition labels. So you can start right at the top and note the size of a single serving and how many servings are in the package. And then you move down and check the total calories per serving. Look at the serving size and how many servings you're really consuming. If you double the servings you eat, you double the calories and nutrients, including the percent daily value. So you want to limit the nutrients that are highlighted in light blue. Remember, you need to limit your total fat to no more than 56 to 78 grams a day, including no more than 16 grams of saturated fat and less than 2 grams of trans fat and less than 300 milligrams of cholesterol. And this is all based on a 2,000 calorie diet. So the nutrients that are highlighted in the light orange color, you want to make sure that you get 100% of the fiber, vitamins, and other nutrients that you need every day. So here's a quick guide to the percent daily value. The percent daily value section tells you the percent of each nutrient in a single serving in terms of the daily recommended amount. As a guide, if you want to consume less of a nutrient such as saturated fat, cholesterol, sodium, choose foods with a lower percent daily value. And just so you know, 5% or less is low. If you want to consume more of a nutrient such as fiber, seek foods with a higher percent daily value. About 20% or more is high. Here are more tips for getting as much health information as possible from the nutrition facts label. Remember that the information shown in these panels is based on 2,000 calories a day. You may need to consume less or more than 2,000 calories depending on your age, gender, activity level, and whether you're trying to lose, gain, or maintain your weight. In general, as you think about the amount of calories in a food per serving, remember that for a 2,000 calorie diet, 40 calories per serving is considered low, 100 calories per serving is considered moderate, and 400 or more per serving is considered high. There's no percent daily value shown for trans fat on the panel because the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, which is the FDA, doesn't have enough scientific information to set this value. I, on the other hand, recommend eating less than 20 calories or less than 2 grams of trans fat a day. That's less than 1% of your total daily calories, which is again based on a 2,000 calorie per day diet. When the Nutrition Facts panel says a food contains 0 grams of trans fat, it actually means that the food contains less than 0.5 grams of trans fat per serving. When the Nutrition Facts label says a food contains 0 grams of trans fat but includes partially hydrogenated oil in the ingredients list, it means that the food contains trans fat but less than 0.5 grams of trans fat per serving. So if you eat more than one serving, you could quickly reach your daily limit of trans fat. In addition to the Nutrition Facts label, a lot of foods today also come with nutrient content claims provided by the manufacturer. These claims are typically featured in ads for the foods or in promotional copy on the food package labels themselves, and they're all strictly defined by the FDA. So I'm going to provide some of the most commonly used nutrient content claims and a detailed description of what that claim means. So if a food claims to be calorie-free, it really means that one serving of the product actually contains less than 5 calories. If it claims to be sugar-free, it actually means that it contains less than 0.5 grams of sugar per serving. When it comes to fat, when it claims to be fat-free, it means that it contains less than 0.5 grams of fat per serving. When it claims to be low-fat, it actually contains 3 grams of fat or less per serving. When it claims to be reduced fat or less fat, it actually contains at least 25% less fat than the regular product per serving. Low in saturated fat, it actually contains 1 gram of saturated fat or less, with not more than 15% of the calories coming from saturated fat in every serving. When the food claims to be lean, it actually contains less than 10 grams of fat or 4.5 grams of saturated fat and 95 milligrams of cholesterol per serving. When a food claims to be extra lean, it contains less than 5 grams of fat, 2 grams of saturated fat, and 95 grams of cholesterol per serving. When food claims to be light, at least 1/3 fewer calories or no more than half the fat of the regular product or no more than half of the sodium of the regular product per serving. When it comes to cholesterol, if a product claims to be cholesterol free, it actually contains less than 2 milligrams of cholesterol and 2 grams or less of saturated fat per serving. Low cholesterol, it contains 20 or fewer milligrams of cholesterol and 2 grams or less of saturated fat per serving. Reduced cholesterol means it actually contains at least 25% less cholesterol than the regular product and 2 grams or less of saturated fat per serving. When it comes to sodium, if a product claims to be sodium free or no sodium, it actually means less than 5 milligrams of sodium and no sodium chloride in the ingredients per serving. If a product claims to be very low sodium, it actually contains 35 milligrams or less of sodium per serving. If a product claims to be low sodium, it actually contains 140 milligrams or less of sodium per serving. If a product claims to be reduced or less sodium, it actually contains at least 25% less sodium than the regular product per serving. And fiber. If a product claims to be high fiber, it contains 5 grams or more of fiber per serving. If a product claims to be a good source of fiber, it contains 2.5 to 4.9 grams of fiber per serving. And if you can't remember the definitions of all these terms, don't worry. You can use these general guidelines instead. Free means the food has the least possible amount of the specified nutrient. Very low and low means the food has a little more than foods labeled free. Reduced or less means the food has 25% less of a specific nutrient than the regular version of the food. So this right here is Twin City Adventure Bootcamp's fitness nutrition made simple. The following guidelines are simple yet structured, and do your best to follow them because it'll lead you to amazing results. So first, you've got to eliminate the junk food and stock up on healthy fuel. You cannot have a house full of forbidden foods and expect success. First, you need to eliminate anything that is likely to trigger you to slip up. Everyone has trigger foods, and the last place they should be is in your house. That's right. Throw out those bag of chips you've been working on. And that carton of ice cream that's been calling your name, get it out. Please don't test your willpower because it's not that strong. Then you'll need to stock your house with everything you need to be successful and get in the habit of being prepared. The key to any and all success is to prepare ahead of time. Do not leave your nutrition to chance. There's no excuse not to pack a nice chest and bring all the healthy food you need with you everywhere you go. Any kind of success, especially when it comes to weight loss, is all about building habits. The following things need to be removed from your cupboards, fridge, and freezer. All processed junk food, which is pretty much anything with more than a couple ingredients, is in a package, or anything you can't pronounce is processed and is not part of this plan. This includes wheat products such as cereals, breads, bagels, and crackers. All calorie containing beverages. No more sodas. Throw them out, and no more juice. I'd rather you eat the fruit than drink the fruit. Sugar, including sucrose, glucose, and fructose. Anything ending in an ose is a sugar. Check your ingredients and also be aware of high fructose corn syrup because it's a sugar as well and it can be very, very detrimental to your body. Alcohol. Yes, that bottle of red wine too that you're only drinking because of the antioxidants. Alcohol can increase your risk of metabolic syndrome, which means it increases your likelihood of gaining unsightly belly fat. Alcohol is a splurge and can be enjoyed during your 10% that you're allowed to splurge on each week. There'll be more on that to come. Next, you'll be making a grocery trip to stock up on everything you need to get the body of your dreams so that you're not caught short and end up cheating in a weak moment when nothing else is available. So go ahead and take a look at the grocery list and pick out the stuff you like. Then hit the grocery store to fill your cart with healthy food to fuel your body. Pause your video here so you can pick out the healthy foods you like. Here's another tip. Keep a journal of what you're eating. Keeping a journal will help keep you accountable and keep you on track. To help you become more fit, we must keep track of what you're doing so that we can look back and make changes that we need to. See, all the information I just shared with you are your nutrition guidelines for life. Really get them down and understand how your body feels when you're following them and start to watch your body transform. Follow this information as closely as possible. Remember that your foods are supposed to fuel your workouts. All you've got to do is push yourself at boot camp, refuel yourself, and repeat. The 90% rule. So you've got to be honest with yourself and you've got to follow the nutrition rules at least 90% of the time. When using your success trackers and journals, give yourself a check mark if you follow the rules or an X if you missed a meal or did not follow the rules. Now you must, I can't stress this enough, must have 90% checks to see results. Following these rules 90% of the time will put you well on your way to getting the body you desire. This allows you 10% of the time to splurge and enjoy your splurges. Don't feel bad about them. Just get back on track your next meal. Live life to the fullest. When you decide to go out and have a good time, relax and enjoy it. You'll find that because you've been eating healthy, you'll feel better and won't have the cravings. It won't be hard to keep your splurges to a minimum, but give yourself the freedom to indulge if you want to. Having a cheat meal is a great way to trick your body and your metabolism to keep you burning fat. Again, this is a simple guide that you can use. And to get more in-depth info about the simple way of eating, as well as download this guide, you can find the link in the description box below.